I was getting notes together, doing some prep work for today. There's a lot cooking on the stove right now, as you might
Right.
say. Um, and kind of to give you a few things to think about. I had in Discord, although I have a lot of names to keep track of. Initially made the mistake, but yeah, I mean my understanding was the that last session you had worked out a deal where you have two Edo warriors and a kind of zombified queen that are in one boat, correct? And
Yep.
uh, you all are in another boat, and you were going to go and make your way back first to the small island where Zeki was, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
that was the
Okay.
plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
I,
Although,
I
yeah, go ahead. Because as I say,
well,
if you want to alter the plan, that is perfectly fine. There's nothing.
not necessarily, but I guess I don't want to spend too much time on the Zeki Island.
Mhm.
I'm kind of want to get to the Prime Herald.
Okay, that's fine. Uh, but do you still want to make your way over to Zeki, or do you want to just head?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've just wondered if we can just. I mean, I read your message, but there's not really anything that Zeki to convince Nagimo not to do this at this point. I mean, we're all in, so
Okay.
I mean, I guess we can sort of find out what Zeki wants, whether he wants to
All
come
right.
with us or whether he wants the gym.
So yeah, so we can fast forward this a little bit. You kind of get back there. Zeki does, he does not think it's a good idea to go to the Prime Herald. If he can't convince you, Zeki would he will agree to accompany you, but in order for him to do that, right now he has the shake still, and
Okay,
he's right, and he would need some drugs to kind of pull himself together. And so I guess this maybe seems more like a Nagimo decision as to whether you want to, if you want to leave him back on the island. I mean, that would be perfectly okay. If you want to give him a little dose of drugs to kind of see if that'll pull him back together, you could do that as well.
well, I mean, would he rather come with us or not? I guess the question.
I yes, he would like to come with you,
Okay,
but there's a price to be paid for this, right? Which is that
yeah.
you're gonna be dosing him up again with some of his.
Well, I guess we'll have to do that. Yeah, if that's what he wants to do. So
Okay, so you give him some of the drugs.
yeah, not too much. We don't want him.
Okay, but a low dose enough that right, he's able to pull himself together. Um,
How about we give him like a placebo effect, not the actual drug, but something similar to the drug, so that he feels that he gets the drugs. And
that feels like that feels like something that maybe Baldur would know how to do.
we give him something like flour and sugar at the same time and said that this is the new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because if he's drugged, all the time, he's gonna feel okay for a moment, and then he's gonna drop down.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't want that.
Yeah. That's right.
So can I, roll to
give
see
it a
if
shot.
I can, make a deception roll, like my cover?
yes, that's what I was thinking. Let's get you to roll your cover, and I'll make an opposed roll, and we will see where this leaves him.
Okay, let me check my stats. Okay, my what was my cover?
Should be.
Oh yeah, it's the past. Sorry, it's the past. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I got 110 and triple twos.
Okay, at least for now, you give that to him. You wait a little bit. He seems to kind of start to pull himself together a little bit. So it seems
Okay.
to have at least some initial effect. Um, when he starts pulling himself together, he's happy about that. He does, he knows that you have these two warriors and this kind of zombified queen. He does, as he's pulling himself together, says, we need to be wary of that group. It would be, Zeki says, it would actually be better if they were not with us.
Well, we have to, follow them.
Wait, don't we have? But we have someone on our ship, right?
Yeah, of course. No. They were in a separate boat.
They are in a separate boat, right?
Yeah.
Is there not? Oh, I thought we had one. I thought we brought one guy with us on our boat. Am I wrong?
No.
Not one of them. But I would say,
okay.
Complication here is the number of pieces that are in play right now. So there's one boat that has the 280 warriors, and it has Nindada, who was the queen of Baldur's tribe, although she seems to be kind of a husk right now. Yeah. And then you have Skin 2, who had been waiting there with the Zeki. And you also have these other two Edo warriors who are at least somewhat loyal to Baldur. Right?
Yep, correct.
Ruka and Smiko. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
So Zeki says it would be better to be without them. Zeki can also give you a little information about the Prime Herald. I mean,
wait, does he know the way?
Yeah, does he know the way? Right from the start?
Zeki says, I certainly have been there, and yeah, he's been there before. His mind, he says, my mind was clouded, but I know some landmarks.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Is there any chance that, can my character sense that he has a shot at restoring my queen's soul back, or is it completely, impossible for me? Because if there's a possibility, I might, try to convince her to come with us.
I think it's fair to say that with your abilities right now, this would be something outside of what you would be ever capable of. I mean, I think it is fair to say that the bits you've heard about the Prime Herald, it seems pretty clear that the Prime Herald has, people have said, okay, this guy works on a completely other level, and he has some kind of, necromantic. He dabbles in the necromantic arts, like it was nobody's business, and I mean, so depends, possibly there, certainly, well beyond what you would be capable of doing right now. And you've seen her, and she seems, I mean, she's clearly not there.
Okay, but was she innocent from the start, or was she an evil queen or bad queen or someone vicious to her people, or not? Because if she was just an innocent woman who just happened to be there at the attack, maybe I can bring her along and try to bargain something with the Prime Herald for her salvation.
Yeah, I mean, Zeki would be able to assist in this area. He would let you know that she was brought in dead, right? That he was up at where the Prime Herald was. He clearly kind of saw her, that she was brought in dead, but that she, at the Fell Watch, which is where the Prime Herald operates, he's seen, and Zeki has seen more than one person who has kind of been raised, but they're not raised alive, right? I mean, these are kind of zombified husks that end up, right, animating.
All right, then I don't bring her along with us.
Okay. That's well. Let's just scuttle the other boat and tell the other guys they can hang out here until they build a new boat. I mean, there's what 6 or 7 of us and 2 of them and a zombie.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. We just tell them that we don't follow with the plan, and they can go back to their outpost. And we're gonna talk to the Prime Herald ourselves.
One of the warriors says, kind of is taken aback when you approach, and they said, "Well, that wasn't the plan. We were told that that you were going to go up to the Prime Herald with us."
Well, there's 6 of us, and so we decide what the plan.
I chuckle a little bit.
The two warriors look at each other and they say, "If you want an audience with the Prime Herald, it would be much better that you go with us." But
I'll tell you what. I'll point to one of them who seemed least physically threatening, and I'll say, "You come with us. The other 2 of you and your zombie, can stay here, and we'll once you repair your boat after sabotage it, leave."
Okay, I don't think that they're. I mean, they definitely can do simple mathematics and kind of figure out that this is would not necessarily go well for them. So you can do that. That's a
Okay.
thing, right? And I think the one who you will convince one of them to go along with you. He seems a little unsure of it. This obviously was not the original plan. But yeah, he will. He will go with you. And so just to get a sense of things, the people who are planning to go off to see the Prime Herald are going to be Zeki. What about Skin 2?
Yeah, he'll come with us. Yes.
Okay.
Unless he doesn't want to, but seemed like he was in for the whole ride.
Right. And then what about these people who are now following Balder around? Are you going to want to try to convince them to go?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Why not? If everything goes wrong, we can use them as cannon fodder.
Now they also have had some dealing with the Prime Herald, and they're going to ask you, Balder. One of them's names is Bruka, and he says, "Are you sure? You know what you're doing? I mean, the Prime Herald, not somebody to be trifled with."
Well, we're just trying to initiate a dialogue with him. We're not going to crash in the front door and try to make a problem for him. If he's playing nice, we play nice. The more I talk, the more I feel that I'm sinking. So I'm trying to cut the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Bruca says you don't negotiate with the Prime Herald, and if you are expecting him to play nice, you are living in fantasy land. Come back to reality. The Prime Herald. I know you've never had direct dealings with him, but not somebody that I would want to face as an antagonist. So, yeah, so Baldur, you have these two Edo warriors who are a little wary of.
Well, yeah. Isn't the other one like afraid of him?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they are both. You can kind of tell are somewhat fearful of him.
Okay. So can I ask them any advice or like approach for Prime Herald, or they just gonna, or they're completely against this idea of visiting or try to visit Prime Herald?
Okay. First of all, that they will let you know that the Prime Herald, very powerful, and he is somebody who has been doing experiments with animals and with dead beings, kind of bringing them back to life, cobbling them together in various bizarre ways. They would also be able to tell you that the place where the Prime Herald resides is this place called the Fell Watch, and it is a complex. I mean, he's there, surrounded by other warriors, and he has some attendants. That's where Galgazud came from, right? He had been an attendant there. So, in terms of going with you, I think we could do a roll to see, if
Okay.
you were wanting to kind of convince them.
Okay. But before I try to convince, I point to these other Edo warriors and tell my group and say that, well, we actually convinced these people, to split their party. So you might as well come along, or you will be at the other end of our swords, right?
Okay. And that certainly would carry some weight with you. I mean, they know of your power and your might. I mean, they've seen this. So let's do a roll, and roll your will. Let's kind of match your will against theirs in terms of.
Okay. All right. It's 8-5-3-2.
You are going to be convincing to them. They when you start, letting them know what their options are, and also this is kind of drawing upon the way you have previously been convincing to them. They're going to come around to this. We can kind of move it along, and you all scuttle one boat, so it's obviously going to take the one warrior you're leaving behind a little bit of time to kind of repair that. Nindada, the queen zombie, is just kind of sitting there. She's probably not going to be much use in getting that boat back together. and
Yeah.
You kind of get one of these big flat bottom skiffs and take off to the Fell Watch. So you're going through the swamp. Rod, I had wrote a note that periodically you think you hear this voice.
Oh yeah.
I would say that it's the type of thing where you're not really sure if you're hearing an actual voice, if it's just some sound in the swamp that you're kind of making some sense of, or what. But it does seem to you like the more you've heard it, that it seems like it's the voice of somebody named Raiza, who is is the shaman of your tribe. But it's very spotty, the types of things, right? Some of these things seem like they're questions. Um, it is also clear that nobody else hears them,
Right.
right?
That's right.
So that's going on. Do you want to just fast forward it to a time when you're getting close to the Fell Watch?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Kind of quick layout of the place. Certainly that Zeki would be able to tell you what this place is. It's an island, but it's getting close to the mainland of the Edo Empire. That's where the Fell Watch is. There's a large central building that has a kind of meeting hall, worship hall that's pretty large. And the back part of the building has this big stone tower that's kind of rising up. The only people who really go into the stone tower, though, it's just the Prime Herald and perhaps sometimes one of his attendants that kind of go up into that. That there are, in addition to the big central building with the tower and the worship hall, there are, some other kind of smaller but sturdy buildings that are, a couple of them are dormitories. There's a kind of mess hall, meeting hall area. There's a kind of one building that's kind of for storage and armory. And then there's a building for you would say the attendants and the officers, that are there. And in terms of the Prime Herald, he has various outposts that will occasionally bring him in. Sometimes it's swamp animals that will be brought into him, and sometimes it's even dead people that or corpses that will be brought in, or even like prisoners who are nearly dead who come in, and right, he kind of is dabbling in kind of various strange experiments and necromantic games that he's playing with them.
Right. Well, so what are we planning to go straight to the front and ask for an audience, or try to stealth assassinate him? Vicious. But the original plan was to try to talk to him about Zeki's soul.
Exactly.
Perhaps offer something he wanted.
Can I ask something? If it can be done, can we observe the people, like if they're happy or if they're like obedient slaves or they're completely like walking zombies? Are there in fear, shock, or is it completely normal for them to live or at least occupy space in that building, or even in their surroundings? That might give us a clue about what can we expect from him.
You could get information from the two Edo warriors that you have with him. I think it's fair to say that you would be able to do some kind of reconnaissance, just kind of seeing what the layout of the complex is, as well as some of the people walking around there. Okay. Generally speaking, they are not zombies. They are kind of warriors. going about their business, you would get a sense that partly what their loyalty is predicated on, though, is fear. I mean, I think the your two warrior Bruka and Smiko, it's very clear from them, and they will tell you that, right, the Prime Herald has many under his thrall because of his might, right, and the fear of what he would do to them, and that they say that they've seen him do awful things. I mean, he's certainly both powerful as well as not a particularly nice guy.
So how can we demand an audience with him, or is it completely absurd for such a request?
Yeah, so I guess you have obviously various ways you could approach this.
Yeah, display the power of Osman and try to sway them.
How about we go to we walk to the front door by pretending that we're gonna offer our service to him. Well, it might allow us to live longer.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Because if we're gonna brandish our swords and use our demonic powers,
that's.
And at one point we're gonna be sitting ducks for his men, and trying to please his sense of pride and his sense of power might be a key factor in this scene, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Let's give it a shot.
Okay. All right. So we try to approach the main building, or first we're gonna we're gonna tie our boat to the docks, and they demand why are we here, and we're just gonna tell them that we're trying to offer our service to Prime Herald.
And you're doing this openly, right? So that they, I think some warriors will, approach, have that conversation with you. You certainly would sense that they're a little bit surprised that this is not something that normally happens. But they say, well, follow us. We will talk to our officer, and they'll say that we're not. Nobody is authorized to order a audience with the Prime Herald, but that they will kind of pass this up to their officer and see where that takes things. Okay.
Okay.
To give you a sense of the size of this, I mean, you can kind of tell, seeing the complex. You see that a stone tower rising up behind this central building, and you see those other buildings that they are kind of more sturdy than what you saw in the Musk Cross Guard area. And this is obviously many more warriors that are here than were there. They're going to take you towards that large central building, and take you to a kind of porch area, ask you to wait, and after a few minutes, and they go inside. After a few minutes, somebody else comes out. He clearly is wearing the what seems to be the uniform of an officer, somebody who is kind of higher up in the military guard, and he invites you in to this large building. and he's going to take you into. I mean, when you enter that front door, there's a large meeting hall, worship area. At the far end, there's a kind of stage with an altar set up on it. You see your friend. You see your friend Galgazud, who is there, but Galgazud does not look in good shape. He's kind of tied to the altar. He seems to, he has some wounds on him, and he's chained up there. Okay. And the officer says, wait here, and if the Prime Herald decides to demean himself to see you, he will come here. Okay.
He will come here.
Yes.
Okay.
To see you.
All right. Sure.
And he leaves, and so at least for now, it's you, and you have Galgazud chained up to the altar.
Is Galgazud conscious?
Yes, he is.
I'm going to say, well, it seems you've fled in the wrong direction, Galgazud. Is there anything you can tell us about the Prime Herald by which we might save your life? If the opportunity arose?
Galgazud is, I mean, not only is he physically been beat up, he's shaken, and you do not need to be Sherlock Holmes to kind of figure out that he is fearful.
Yeah.
And Galgazud says, I don't know what you could do, but the Prime Herald has obviously not looked kindly on my services to him. He clearly does not see me as someone fitting to work with him. My dreams of being his priest are shattered, and I don't know the specifics, but with me being here chained to this altar, well, I mean, I'm clearly in a spot.
Okay, this can turn into an advantage for us. Can Prime Herald actually see this area right now? Does he have this power? Galgazud. I'm asking Galgazud.
He says, what, like?
Yeah, like telepathically, like he can see this, because what I'm trying to accomplish here, I try to untie his hands a bit, like I'm gonna make him like he's tied.
Oh, okay, so he can,
yeah. And if Galgazud has control of his demon, the rod demon, maybe while we're talking with Prime Herald, if things go south, maybe he will try to assist us with an attack or something. He will be our wild card.
Yeah, I mean, Galgazud says that the Prime Herald mainly operates through those like those object demons and the sentinel demons. Mm-hmm. He says he does not think that there is currently an object demon in the room right now. In other words, his sense is that things are not. I mean, the Prime Herald knows you are here, but yeah, that there is no object demon or sentinel demon that's been placed into this room.
Okay, then I untie his hand, but make it look like he's tied. And I remind him that if you come out alive, do not forget that it's our action that gave you this second chance or third chance.
Galgazud says, well, I'm obviously desperate at this point, and I don't have great hopes in your ploy, but certainly it's better than the option I currently have.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's kind of locked in some chains, like, right? This is not rope, but he's kind of has these fetters on him. Is there I'm just trying to think, like, in terms of getting him out of the chains, is there anything that you would like to try? I'm thinking also about your demon abilities as to whether there's anything that either of you would have.
I don't know that there's anything that's like directly pertinent, unless one of the Ado soldiers with us knows how to fiddle with the little locks and chains like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if we have some sort of grease or oil with us, like for lanterns, we can swap his.
It's funny you mention that. As it happens, my people use a kind of rendered animal fat as a insect repellent.
Insect repellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we can use this to swap his arms or just the shackles and he tries to slip his hands. Maybe. Because I don't have any powers to actually free him from any chain.
Yeah, so I was wondering with that, or the kind of dipping back to that ambush raider background, whether that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it's your call on. I've given my best idea, I guess, in terms of our actual background.
Yeah. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
That it seems like I mean, it'd be nice to kind of give this a roll, and I think the closest would be either the ambush raider, who perhaps knows a lot about, like, all sorts of things, right? Or we could try to see if you're able to kind of slide him out. But that's going to give you 5 dice.
Okay. I've got a 10, 8, 7, 4.
All right. I would say we'll go with the attempt to kind of slide him out of these shackles. Okay. And I would say it's a little bit painful, but he has to, because like you really are kind of working it. You probably hear a little cracking sometimes when it's getting but Galgazud holds it together, and he's in pain, but also he's a little more hopeful. I mean, still not like thinking that this is gonna be totally work, but you certainly have gotten one step here.
All right. I have a crazy idea.
Go ahead.
Which is that we try to contact summon an enormous demon right now to just wreck the place.
Let me also tell you this, though.
I'm not good at that, so at the contacting summoning. Just throwing it out there that it's an option.
All right. So Galgazud, you'll get a couple other bits of information from him.
Okay.
He tells you that Vizier may still be here. That big giant, that he's seen him around. He may be here at the complex. About the Prime Herald, he says the Prime Herald's main power lies in another demon, which he calls the Chryxen butterfly. Okay. I will. I'll put this up.
I like the sound of this already.
The Chryxen butterfly is a. He says you will see the Chryxen butterfly when the Prime Herald enters, because it is a large. It looks like a large gem that is affixed to his forehead. It's like attached to his skull. And the Prime Herald certainly is a somebody who is steeped in the necromantic arts, and the Chryxen butterfly kind of gives him the power to accomplish these amazing feats that he's able to accomplish.
Can I ask Osmond if he knows any demon that's called Crimson Butterfly, because it's a gem?
Let's roll for that. He has a lore of 8.
Okay.
As to whether this is something. So you can
roll
the 8 die for Osmond. Right, that would be on his lore.
Okay, I got 110, 19, 2 8s, 2 6s, 3 6s, and 1 2. So 10, 9, 8, 8, 6, 6, 6, and 2.
Okay. Osmond has heard that name before. He's heard the name before. Osmond is thinking this, right? Here's what Osmond will tell you. He says, Galgazud clearly was not worthy of serving the Prime Herald, but perhaps you are. There might be an opportunity here.
Okay.
The Chryxen butterfly, I've heard that name before. Osmond will kind of let you know that's somewhat familiar to him, and right, the power. I mean, he's kind of heard of the great power that, it's kind of a legendary demon that this is that you would be dealing with.
So, okay, I turned to Nagimo and said that, okay, this is a very specific and very powerful demon that we're talking about. I contacted Osmond and said that it's a very formidable opponent. So it's not something easy. It's very, 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 very powerful. So, I mean, we got a few options. Either we try to contact this Chryxen butterfly and try to convince him somehow that one of us is worthy of his power, or maybe I should give myself up for his service and try to give you and your friends some kind of help by sacrificing myself, literally.
That seems much fair. Have people in my service. I think we have to do all we can to command the situation. If that means you somehow contacting the butterfly and occupying it. Well, if you can somehow keep the butterfly occupied, then perhaps I could face Prime Herald sword.
Oh,
Um,
I have an idea. So I turned to Galgazud and said, "Okay, so Prime Herald is a really old guy, right?"
What do you say?
I turned to Galgazud and asked if Prime Herald is an old guy, like really old.
Galgazud does not know how old he is. He says he does not look like a normal human, but that's clearly partly because of the magic he's been dealing with. I mean, he deals a lot with death and dead things, and it kind of shows on his appearance.
Okay. Well, my plan is that we try to contact Chryxen Butterfly and propose a better deal than Prime Herald has. My bargaining chip is that, well, this Prime Herald probably is a really old guy, and probably he needs a better looking man, like someone in someone in his prime, okay?
Yeah.
Someone with a better health, because I guess he only supplies himself with necromantic art, and I don't know if that's intentional coming from the demon, but if it's not, maybe we can offer this demon more colorful ways of living, more colorful ways of experiencing life.
Like right now, it seems like Balder is in terms of the plan is that what Balder is going to try to interest the Prime Herald in some type of relationship, um, alliance, or some such thing.
well, the demon, right?
Demon, yeah.
The Chryxen.
Not exactly. The Chryxen butterfly. I tried to convince Chryxen butterfly that one of us, me, Nagimo, or even the priest Galgazud, is a worthy host.
Mm-hmm.
And if he says okay, probably, we have to take him off his forehead at some point.
Okay, and in terms of doing this, are you going to do this just by contacting? Well, not by contacting. Are you planning to do it by just conversing with the Prime Herald, or did you want to do a contact?
I would like to do a contact.
Describe to me how this is going to go. So first of all, Nagimo, are you gonna be? Is this going to be some type of group sorcery thing?
Well, I can try to participate. I only have one lore die. Remember, I'm
right.
That guy, but Galgazud, I guess, could also pitch in. So I would probably end up just be following Balder's structure in terms of what I,
right.
Chant this repetitively or something.
Okay.
Can I sacrifice a point of my, let's see, like a point of stamina if I'm just, like cut myself and, spray blood all over the floor in order to make a, ritual? Can this help me by gaining dice, or it's just a foolish act?
No, you can do that, because I mean there is also and we have not always used this, but at the beginning of Sorcerer, they talk about bonuses and penalties. A dramatic or appropriate quip when announcing the task gives you a bonus die. An especially clever version of the action gives you two. So tell me what I would say definitely if you're kind of describing to me a kind of
Okay.
interesting
All right.
setup for this contacting spell and cutting yourself and spreading some droplets of blood around, that
I,
certainly.
I just before we get going, is there any chance that Galgazud has any insight into what the Chryxen butterflies need might be need or desire?
Galgazud will tell you. I know exactly what the Chryxen butterfly desires. Um, the Chryxen butterfly really likes experimenting with human and other living forms, like that, like just kind of doing, you know, these experiments is really feeding the the desire of the butterfly.
So, kind of knowledge. Is that
Yes,
what?
knowledge. Although Galgazad says, yeah, it is knowledge of a special kind in terms of just how far he can go with these kinds of experiments and right tests that he performs.
Okay. So basically, the butterfly tests human limits, right?
Human limits and just the limits of living things.
Okay. All right. I have. Well, we will probably test this in our conversation with the Prime Herald, this subject. But my description is as follows. First, I'm gonna cut my hand a little bit. Then, around the altar that Galgazud was holding up, I drop little, drops of blood so that it forms the shape of a butterfly. And then, if I can manage to get some of his blood, I will ask Galgazud to make little droplets of blood in shapes of little human figures inside the butterfly's wings, so that he has the sense of, it's an all-encompassing butterfly that can, governs humans. And I probably stood in a center of this altar, or near the center of the altar, and try to open my senses to the butterfly's reach.
Okay. So mechanically for that, you're going to get two bonus dice for this ritual that you started and the way that you're going about, like putting things into that butterfly form involving, blood, which, is going to hopefully appeal to the Chryxen butterflies, interested in biology and such things. Do you want to try to perform the contact before the Prime Herald comes in, or are you going to try to unleash this when the Prime Herald is physically there in the room with you?
Honestly, I don't know. I think contacting beforehand gives me some kind of a advantage.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it will be really, absurd. He's coming into the room. Right. I'm trying to contact his demon inside of the altar.
Correct. That's what kind of crossed my mind. Okay, so let's do this. And Nagimo, you're trying to help as much as you can, even though you're
yeah.
Okay, let's see. I mean, you never know. Like you roll you roll high on this. It may.
All right. And Gallic is debating. Well, dice.
Yeah, Galgazud will help, right?
Correct. Do you want me to roll for Galgazud, or does one of you want to roll for?
I can roll for him.
Okay, roll 3 dice for Galgazud.
I rolled a 9, so.
Roll a 9?
A 9 by 1 die.
That's nice.
Galgazud rolled 933.
The 9s are going to be victories.
Oh, okay. Where they?
So
I've already got
so
2.
yeah. So you get to roll those 2 victories into your roll now, right?
Okay.
That's what I understand, right? That we do, with the groups. That those go first, and it says, yeah.
Pretty common.
Right. Yeah. That you any
Oh,
successes.
yeah.
Right. Any successes. So you have 2 successes, one for Nagimo, one for Galgazud. Confer the victories as a bonus to the primary.
Right.
Okay.
So he'll get 2 extra dice.
Right. So you're going to get a total of 4 extra in addition to your lore. So do we want to do that now?
Sure. Yeah. I will get a total of 8 dice. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I got 110, 19, 17, 2 3s, and 1 2. I'm gonna roll 2 dice more. Two more dice. Sorry. Okay. It's 10, 9, 8, 7, and the rest is 3 and 2s.
So you had 2 10s and 2 9s, correct?
No, 1 10, 1 9.
Okay.
8, 10, 9, 8, 7.
All right. You perform this ritual. You actually smell, as you're kind of activating it, you start to smell a kind of burning smell. The places where the blood dropped, like these forms, you can kind of see some smoke coming up from that, especially that butterfly shape that you made. There's smoke coming from there, and Balder, you get hear a voice that says,
"Come closer."
No, it says who asks to speak to me.
I reply with a very flat voice. I try to have a flat voice. It is I, Balder, who carries one of your kin, which is called Osmond.
The Chryxen butterfly says, Osmond, I faintly recall that name, but that was from a long, long time ago.
I believe time means time is insignificant next to you. Oh, great butterfly.
That is correct. I have been around for far longer than your kind have been on this place.
And I wish you continue your journey as long as humanity exists, so that we can carry your glory further.
And the Chryxen butterfly says, you speak the language of reverence very well, but I have to think that you have something more specific on your mind right now. What might that be?
Without actually, sorry. I don't have any power to hurt or criticize your judgment because you're far more superior than I am. But I think your host is vicious and not worthy of your power because he's a decaying corpse in reality. He has built himself a kingdom of fear, and this kingdom will gonna fall eventually. I believe me or one of my companions can offer you much more interesting ways to discover what humans can show on this land.
The Chryxen Butterfly says, the Chryxen Butterfly says, you have read the situation somewhat accurately. He says the one who people call the Prime Herald has certainly served his purpose to some effect, but being being a human, he certainly has his weaknesses and failings as well, and certainly mortality does wear on him, right? His powers are on the decline. What would you propose?
If I'm not mistaken, he will carry your glory to us in a few minutes. And I fear that we might have some sort of confrontation with him. My proposition to your highness is that if you do not help him in this confrontation, we can show you a better host, which will provide you not the bleakest and darkest experiences of a human body, but also joyful and colorful experiences. Because I believe you have an exquisite interest in human limits and human capabilities.
And the Chryxen Butterfly says, "Are you offering yourself? Is that what I'm to understand?"
Whichever you prefer. I cannot be your judgment. You are better than us.
So I guess he asks, well, okay, you say whichever I prefer. Who else do I have to choose from? Certainly not Galgazud. He was nowhere close to what I require.
Okay, you can have me if you choose. If my companion Nagimo is also okay with this, maybe he will offer himself as a proper candidate. Or we have Skintu, who is a really decent human being. And of course, we always have who was it? That guy's name?
Oh,
Zeki.
Zeki.
Yeah. So there are four candles in total.
Yeah, he knows Zeki. He'll say, well, maybe at one point Zeki would have been appropriate, but in his current state, that would not be sufficient. But he says, I will appear shortly. I am certainly intrigued. He says, Basir has reported back to me of things that have happened, as has Buki. This Buki is the name of that sentinel object demon on the rod, right? So he says, I have had reportings from Basir as well as Buki, so you are not totally unknown to me. So, and he says, I will be there soon, and we can perhaps work this out. Okay.
Thank you.
Let me now this requires a humanity check.
Again?
You are dealing with like dangerous stuff here. So, what is your humanity right now?
I guess it's a formidable 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Roll 3 dice. Tell me what you get.
Where's my humanity? Oh yeah, it's 3. Let's check. It's 10, 9, 6.
Oof.
Oh, this was so close. I mean, I had a 10. I had a 10 as well, but then my next highest one was an 8. So
I passed.
Yes, you passed the test. Yes. Yeah.
Phew, okay. I turned to Nagimo and said, I don't know if my talking was audible, because we never talked that in game or out of game, how we contacted demons and how we talked to them.
Oh.
Yeah, since you're the one in charge, I think especially since this wasn't kind of directly there, I think Balder, I don't think Nagimo, I think Nagimo probably would pick up that you were in some type of contact, but would probably be not really clear. You probably were mumbling a little bit, maybe picked up snatches, but I think the people around you would be a little unclear as to the details of this conversation. They probably occasionally heard their names mentioned, but not really what the,
Okay. I'm guessing I have spoken in a very ancient and very brutal sounding language, and my eyes was completely red, and Osman was flashing inside and shining his red lights.
Yeah.
And once the conversation is over, my eyes were turned to normal, and I grasped an air, like a deep breath, and I turned to Nagimo and said, okay, I think we have some advantage now.
Okay.
And I tell him, okay, I've done my best, but I believe I have convinced this Chryxen butterfly to not give his power to Prime Herald. So basically, he will be just a guy.
Okay.
I hope. So I guess you will take charge up from that point. If we're gonna, there's only one condition. It's that Chryxen butterfly will choose one host for him.
All right. Well, we'll see what comes to pass.
Okay.
Skintu's like overhearing this and says, "What do you mean we'll choose a host? That doesn't sound good."
Well, we don't have any nice options here. I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah, I haven't really mentioned the 2 Edo warriors who came with you. I think for the most part, they are trying to hold up the best they can. But, waiting in here, I think that they also are kind of like, sitting, near the wall, taking note of any exits that they might need. You hear them like they're nervously speaking as this goes on. Skintu's a different one, and Zeki also is holding together more effectively, and Zeki would say, hearing a little bit of the conversation, he says, Balder, you are playing with some dangerous magic here. But he looks over at Nagimo and he says, "But if Nagimo is in support of this, then I certainly am in support of this." And Skin2 has a similar kind of reaction, right? That they both are kind of respectful of Nagimo and kind of are willing to back him up.
Well, let's just say that there are many twists and turns in the road before we decide who gets hosted by their doors. They're open. Come to an end that it's us.
But you hear a noise coming from behind the altar, and you hear the sound of stone grating on stone, and an opening does appear behind the altar, and somebody steps out. He is, well, I mean, you would, having heard that the Chryxen butterfly is affixed to his forehead, right? He has this large butterfly gem that is encrusted on his forehead. He's wearing an exquisite robe that is embroidered with all sorts of threads that seem to almost be glowing, some of them, right? An elaborate design on these robes with like gold threads, silver threads, also threads of purples and greens, as well as some that seem to be emitting some type of light. And this guy, he is hairless. He's completely bald. He has like small brown sunken eyes. His lips seem to always be kind of pulled back, so you always see his teeth, although he doesn't really seem to be smiling. It's just like and he has a kind of sunken, he's very thin looking, okay? And his skin, his skin has this kind of greenish hue to it as well. I mean, it's he does. I mean, he's a human, but right, he does. I mean, he does not strike you as a particularly healthy looking specimen of humanity. Okay, he steps out, and then he pauses, and it looks like his eyes are rolling back, and you hear him say, "We can leave the Prime Herald to rest for a few moments. The person who addresses you now is the Chryxen butterfly."
Oh. Cool.
And says, "Balder, step forward."
Okay, I step forward.
Nagimo, what are you going to do at this point?
I'm just going to watch carefully with
with a popcorn,
with my hand on,
saying that it's
with my hand hovering near my sword, although I don't know what I don't know how much good I can do. If I were to hypothetically lash out and cut this guy's head off, I don't know if the butterfly would just still make him keep talking.
Yeah, and the butterfly, it itself is kind of pulsating with this glow that kind of changes colors. Okay.
Does it actually look like a butterfly?
It's the shape is definitely a butterfly shape. In terms of what it's made out of, it does look more like a gem.
Right.
Right. Um, and it will say to Balder, he will say, you step forward, and he says, now he says, uh, come, come up here onto the stage with me.
Um, okay, I approach, but can I also check Osman that if he's anxious or he feels not he feels unsafe or not?
All right, so Osman, you feel Osman also kind of pulsating on your chest, and Osman is um, Osman acknowledges the great power of this Chryxen butterfly, and I guess gives you the sense. I guess says, um, Balder, if you are willing to go through with this, it may be that you will be the home of 2 demons before the day is through.
Yeah. What can I do?
I mean,
There's no other option.
Feels like the best bet at this point.
Yeah, I mean, here's my plan. If I can control the demon, I may release any souls. I can give soul back to Zeki. I can restore like any health to any creature around, and I can probably order everyone to stand down and go about your business.
All right, Osman might pick up on these sentiments. I would say that Osman says, okay, you may be the home of 2 demons, but uh, you know, Osman will warn you that you should not expect the Chryxen butterfly to be a saint. Okay, right? The Chryxen butterfly is this kind of power. Osman to kind of wants to make clear that, right? This is a great opportunity. Osman's all in for it, but he's kind of making clear that the power of the Chryxen butterfly. If you're thinking about doing this just to kind of do good in the world, uh, this may not be the kind of bargain that you want to make.
Well, I know, but I guess I have no choice. I'm too deep into this because I have contacted him. I have offered him an agreement. If I didn't do that, Prime Herald would probably arrive here with full force, and it will be a complete. It could be a complete disaster for us. It's a bargain chip, and if I have to sacrifice myself for the greater of my companions, then it's okay for me.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to, you're right. You have the Chryxen butterfly has asked you to come up and join him on the stage.
Sure, I go.
Okay.
I go along with that.
All right. So he will step up to you, and he's going to put his hands on your shoulders, and will say, Osman. And you kind of sense as he's doing this, I mean, he pauses, and you get a sense that the Chryxen butterfly is surveying you. He is kind of assessing you. At one point, one of the hands of the Prime Herald, but he's not really the Prime Herald right now. He's being controlled by the Chryxen butterfly. Puts his hand on your chest where Osman is, and you get a sense that he is assessing that as well. sake. Yeah, he says this to you, Balder. He says, Balder,
Okay.
you are worthy. If you wish to back out, you may do so, but I am willing to basically fuse myself onto you.
Okay. Let's go along with that.
Okay. I think what this is then going to be, what he's going to do is he'll put both of his hands on your shoulders, and he's going to kind of bow his head towards yours. He'll kind of lift up and bring your head. Basically, he wants the foreheads to be touching where that butterfly is. And what this is ultimately going to do mechanically is we're going to do a binding roll because we need to see what the strength of this is and who has the upper hand on this.
Okay.
And of course, you know what else we're going to need to roll, which is the humanity.
Of course.
So,
of course. How can I forget?
Yeah, and we don't need a normally, you do a contact, a summon, and bind, but the demon is already summoned here. He's there.
Yeah.
But we should do that binding roll. I'm gonna roll the successes in your contact into this. So that's going to give you 2 more. In addition to your will, you're going to get 2 more. And because I'm feeling generous and because I love this scene, I think I'm going to give you a couple more, just as kind of the kind of GM
favor.
Okay. Nagimo, did you?
Is there any way for? Oh no, binding and punishing are rolling, so we can't help him.
Correct. Yeah, but you're going to roll your will plus.
But he's got a lot of dice.
He does have some extra dice to roll with this. So Balder, well, let's see what happens here. So you're going to roll 8 die total, I think.
Okay, fine. Okay, I got 110, 19, 18, 2 6s, 1 2, and I'm gonna roll 2 dice again. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6.
You feel, okay, Balder feels a searing heat when this is going on. Everybody can smell what smells like burning. It smells like burning flesh. You see smoke arising from where their foreheads are touching, and this is going to be a successful bind. And at the end of it, there's probably a little blood that kind of starts trickling down your face from your forehead. But after about 10 minutes of this, you are going to, and you feel something really burrowing into your forehead. At the end of this, well, the body of what used to be the Prime Herald drops to the ground. Okay. And when that happens, you now have a gem seared and kind of fused into your forehead right now.
All right. Nagimo will say, Balder, are you still in command of yourself?
I turn to him, showing my face. And I said, yeah, I'm still myself.
Okay. He says that. Let's quickly do the humanity check on this.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, 755.
All right. You lose a point of humanity. Okay.
Okay, so I'm down to 2.
You are down to 2. Yes. But yeah, Balder, you are in command. Um, you definitely feel like you are, you know, in contact with the Chryxen butterfly. The Chryxen butterfly urges you to put on the robe of the Prime Herald.
I ask him why.
Um, well, you are that robe partly symbolizes our affiliation. Plus, it will have the more practical effect of impressing those who live here.
Why do you think why do you want living here instead of seeing the rest of the world? You want to see the human limits? We can test it down on and that rope can get damaged pretty easily on the road actually.
It does occur to me, though, that if you wear that robe and walk out of here.
Sorry?
It does occur to me, though, that if you wear that robe, perhaps we can walk out of here much easier.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, I'll put on that rope if you want. Okay. So yeah, I redress myself that rope, and I turn to well, I cannot turn. I speak to Butterfly and say, okay, I think we have to help our friends. Uh, could you kindly give Zeki's soul back, please? It was Zeki's soul, right?
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what.
Correct.
Could you kindly give Zeki's soul back, please?
Um, okay, so you asked that. That's okay. I think that the Crimson Butterfly would say he's really you know Zeki seems to be the least of our concerns. Um, he is of more use to us the way he is. There's a reason why I uh put his soul, his life force into a gem. It makes him much easier to control. It gives
But
us
if we
power
give
over him.
correct at one point, but if we give his soul back, it will bring much more glory to your power. You will become Crimson Butterfly, the Forgiver, bringer of life. It will bring beautiful adjectives to your name.
All right, let's do a quick. You're trying to kind of persuade him. He's initially not kind of given to this, but let's roll your will, and we'll see how effective this persuasive act is.
Okay, hopefully. Okay, I got 8441.
844.
1.
Um, the Chryxen Butterfly says, "Look, we perhaps I could reverse this, but I think we have far far bigger plans to get moving on. He you know, he has his life force. He has the gem that possesses his life force. His life is already better. We can let him go."
So the gem that he has is actually his soul, right?
Yes, his soul
Okay.
has been pacted in that gem.
How can he gets his soul back from the gem to his body?
I have a thought. If the Chryxen butterfly wants you to help him perform weird rituals, then surely you need to be taught how to do it. Practice first, so perhaps reversing the process and putting the soul back in Zeki, Jim, can be your instruction how to perform this kind of art.
Oh, okay. I see. It's a nice idea.
Okay. All right, so the Chryxen butterfly, I think he will come around to this. But the Chryxen butterfly lets you know that this kind of necromancy always it requires sacrifices, and to pull this off, to kind of access the energy to kind of cause this reversal, it will require a life.
Again, like giving back life requires a life.
To pull the soul out of that gem and put it back into Zeki, there will be a life that would be required to kind of energize that kind of an operation.
I'll grab one of the Ado soldiers, hold him
I
at
have
sword point, and say,
I have a better idea. How about we go for the giant?
"Oh, Basir, there, perfect, yes."
Okay.
Yes.
I guess the giant is a perfect candidate for that.
Okay,
Do I lose another humanity?
I would say this is gonna,
Yeah, you probably will.
Well,
this will be the last time.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that kind of the necromantic arts is a very risky business. You will not automatically lose it, but I would say that when if this goes through, you will have to make a check. I mean,
but will he also get to make a gain check because he's doing it to help Zeki get his soul back?
I think that's fair. Yeah, that we would. I mean, yeah, you're kind of dabbling in this, so yeah, so
kind of a
yes, we'll do two of them, right? Because you are. I mean, there is certainly kind of restoring, humanity to this, but you are dabbling in these arts to do this.
Okay, so if we can, fast forward, maybe I order one of the soldiers to bring Basir.
Yeah.
Or just call him.
Yeah, I don't think that will be a problem. I think as soon as the soldiers see you, they see that kind of butterfly on you, right? I mean that you also have the dead corpse of the previous Prime Herald there, and yeah, so Basir will, if you ask for Basir to be brought in. He is a giant of a man, but you've got a lot of warriors here, and they will be able to bring him in. And so do you want to? You're going to go through with this operation? You want to?
Yeah.
Put the okay. I think. Go ahead.
No, I said I'll happily assist killing.
Of course.
Okay. I think what I'm going to do is a ruling here. I'll just say this is going to be successful. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you've got a lot of life force to work with, and right, Basir has more. he obviously would be pleading, right, and would be saying, I have served you so well, you don't need to do this. But I think the Chryxen butterfly also kind of thinks that, but I'm really coming off ahead in this. I have a new a new a new uh, ally here who is
a new a new point of view.
okay. So let's do the 2 humanity checks.
Okay.
Which one do you want to do first?
Let's see if I lose one.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna probably lose, but it's okay. It's 8-8.
You do not lose one.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Okay.
So for gaining,
the same thing.
To gain, the same thing. Okay.
It's the same thing. Yep.
It's 7-2.
Surprisingly, you are going to gain one.
Oh.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm back to 3.
You're back to 3.
Nice.
So we've learned that human sacrifice is good as long as you're helping.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the Aztecs and the Mayans were.
So I feel like, at this point, I feel like, Nagimo, your kicker is basically resolved. And I think, Balder, I think your kicker is resolved at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this was I think this may have been like our 8th session. If we include like the session 0, right? So that then I think for me, like when I've run Sorcerer before, it seems like 7 or 8 sessions for the resolution of kickers. At least the way I work, I think other people probably may move along more quickly than that. But yeah, for me in the past, at least the 7 or 8 sessions seems to be about like what the kickers require.
My character will become a very stationary character. I'm probably tell Nagimo, Zeki to their lives happily.
Yeah.
No harm will gonna come to them afterwards. And from out of game, I guess this was a really nice run. Like I really enjoy that. And if we can, move to another project, that will be okay for me. Okay. But I think that this game, if we can look at it as a book, it's finished.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily. I could see revisiting it at some point, revisiting the characters at some point. But for the time being, I think I can take a break from them.
Yeah, and they are saved in my Google Drive right now. So that character sheet. So if at any point we need to bring Balder or Nagimo back, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay. So if we have to give a feedback, how would you look at the characters and see was bad, what good, or what was your criticism?
Are you asking me?
Anyone, it's okay. Like both of you. If we examine characters, dialogues, moment of the action, was it a good run, or it could be better? It had some flaws. Like any examination and criticism is okay for me.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if I have a criticism of a particular person, but I wonder if the slowness of the sessions was sort of us getting stuck a little bit sometimes in a loop of, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Type of where we're just talking about our, I find myself wondering if maybe I could have, maybe I could have broken out and just been more daring by myself, and that would have maybe been annoying for you in terms of the situation, but might have been a better game in the long run. If we were just acting more aggressively in our own interest sometimes instead of always census. I don't know.
Well, I think,
and it's just for Sorcerer specifically, not necessarily for other kinds of games, but because Sorcerer doesn't necessarily always. It's not necessarily always about being a group and having the same mission, right? But just
Correct.
the way things worked out in this game, it did turn out to be about that. And so I wonder if maybe I fell back too hard on basic Dungeons and Dragons ideas of, we all have to agree on the plan or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, for me also though, I think that there were some, some of the situations that you were facing. I mean, I think they did require some thought. So seeing you kind of having to kind of piece things out and figuring out okay, what are the powers and abilities at our disposal, and how can we kind of maximize those to kind of accomplish things. I mean, it's sometimes you have to kind of give that self-reflection.
That's true. That's true. And it could just be, new group. I mean, me and Ivars had to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And I know you, Robbie, but I haven't played with you as the game master before. So, it's a lot of new relationships.
Yeah. This is my first time with the sword and sorcery version of Sorcerer, and I like it as I mean, I think the adaptation works pretty well. I mean, I think that there were a lot of things kind of going on here where I was saying, this is that it was definitely our game, but I mean, working in that kind of sword and sorcery kind of genre, I think it was clicking pretty well with that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. However, at first I had some, nice challenges to adapting to, especially swamp, butterflies, and that sort of environment.
Yeah.
For sword and sorcery, because I played the Untitled games back in my youth, but not this type of sword and sorcery.
Right.
The visualization of the elements a bit problematic for me.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you all know. But I just I love playing face to face, but I also like without the internet, right, Ivars, I would probably never get to play a game with you, and I enjoyed having you on board immensely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Likewise.